Hello and welcome back to Botania. We're going to be doing another siege in the first part of this episode, and we're going to see if we can do it. Now, I've called for a couple of people to help us out. As you can see, we already have our first trebuchet underway, and you got to bear in mind that, look at this. Our combat strength is significant. I'm actually quite surprised, to be honest. I actually thought that we might have some difficulties, but as you can see, their majority unit are Stygian peasants, and I don't really know how that's even a thing, to be honest. I really don't. I think that that's kind of hilarious. 165 of them, no less. I feel like that is going to be relatively simple for us to take, but obviously we're going to need to get those walls down first. Now, of course, because my engineering skill is terrible, it is going to take us a bit of time to do that. However, a very, very good thing has happened. The Botanians have taken Balgard, okay? They've taken Balgard, and it is now being assaulted by Regea, as you can see by the little message there. That basically means that I have pretty much free reign to do whatever I want in this area at the moment, because I don't think any enemies will be like, oh yes, let me just go and defend that very, shall we say, not valuable castle, because let's face it, there's no way they're going to appear here when Balgard is a much more valuable target for them. So that's the reason why I decided to take this, because I noticed that a lot of the larger forces are far away, they're on the front lines, they're very much busy, and we don't need to worry about them whatsoever. And of course, because we already have a... Oh, hello! Are you serious? Wow. I'm actually, huh. Well, now I'm not sure. Now I'm not sure what I should do here, because I don't really want to, run away here. Should I just go in? Now here's the problem. I'm in two minds about this. If we go inside and we lose a bunch of units, we're not going to have enough to be able to defend against this army, and maybe this 93 party is going to be able to engage us before we can get into the battlements. Because the way that the developers of Bannerlord have done things now is that you don't actually construct all your stuff right on top of the world sprite that is currently there, and instead you're a little bit far away from the walls, so you're going to need to move in there before you can actually do anything by, you know, entering it and stuff. So I think I'm actually going to lead this assault. You know, I was really thinking to myself that that was a perfect plan that I had, because let's face it, like, surely most of the Empire is going to be concerned with defending their more valuable fiefs. But in this case, no. Apparently they really, really love this castle for some reason. I have no idea why. But anyway, we're going to be suffering quite a few casualties in this particular siege now, which would have actually been different if we just had a little bit extra luck, you know, a little bit of extra luck. Although what's actually quite funny as well is that if the enemy army had about maybe 100 less troops, I might decide to engage them on the field of battle itself rather than going in for the siege here. But, well, it really depends. It really depends on what kinds of units they have as well. But I noticed that they have a lot of relatively high-tier infantry, and we have to be quite careful of those. Even though you may be seeing at the moment the Botanian Fian champions are getting most of the kills for us at the moment, I don't think that I have that many of them. I think I have 23? They can't all be mine. I don't think they're all mine. I think that... Are they? They are all mine. Oh, that's actually very surprising. I did not think that we had all of those. Wow. I'm actually kind of surprised. I guess my efforts have been paying off dividends. Because I have been attempting to try and capture as many forest bandits as I can get my hands on. and of course recruiting from those noble villages as much as possible as well. And that's pretty much it. That's what I've been trying to do in my off-screen time. You've seen it on-screen as well, that I have been going over there and trying my best to get as many of those noble units as I can. And yeah, seems like it's actually paying off quite nicely now. I am being shot in the shoulder a little bit, but that's not too bad. Wow, look at that. I actually really like the way that every single arrow can be seen, even when it is embedded in your body. Because it used to be that in Warband, if you got shot, like in the neck or something like that, it wasn't really that detailed, obviously, because the game is, what, 10 years old. So, of course, you know, the damage modeling and so on and so forth is not really going to be as accurate as a 2020 game, of course. But, you know, still, I think that that improvement is really cool because it does give you a more visceral idea of what is actually going on with the character. So I like that quite a bit. Let's see if I can hit that guy. Get him. Yeah, there we go. Get that guy too. Yes. Oh, are you serious? Get out. Get out of the way. Get out of the way, fellas. Thank you. Okay, so let's see if I can maybe take out this guy. Is he dead? That guy doesn't seem to be moving, so I assume he's dead. There we go. Take out that Stygian peasant. You know, the only reason why we're actually doing relatively well is just that. Stygian peasants. That's literally the two words that you need to know about this particular siege. Kind of hilarious. Wouldn't have expected that we would be able to do this if they had any bit of good units. You know, if they had something just a little bit better, then I think we would have a very difficult time indeed. Hilariously enough, though, we are now taking some pretty significant casualties. I think that is probably because, well, a lot of our units from our allied vassals are relatively low tier, and they have now started to climb the walls with the thanks of the siege tower. So that's the reason why that's happening at the moment. Otherwise, don't really mind too much about that, as long as we don't lose too many of ourselves. That should be okay. We've lost a couple of Oathsworn at the moment. But yeah, we've only had 7 deaths in total, so I don't think that's too bad. And now we're going to go to town. We're going to go two-handed. Let's do this. Look at that, 18 damage. Oh, that's devastation right there. I'm obviously being funny because, you know, it's not actually that much damage. But, you know, it's okay, it's okay. The inner gate is a little bit less fortified than the outer one, which is, in my opinion, kind of weird. I don't know why they wouldn't make both gates, you know, super fortified. There must be a reason. There must be a logical reason for that. You know, why the enemy would not decide to fortify all of their gates. But you know, who am I to say? Okay, so let me see if I can maybe do some damage here. Wish I had some kind of fearsome cry or something like that to kind of get people out the way kind of thing, you know? That would be kind of cool. Yeah, get him. Nice. Oh, we're slicing through them. Oh, dear. Well, this is bad. This is bad news bears, isn't it? This is bad news bears. All right, hello there. Yeah, these guys are super AI now, aren't they? They're just AIing all over the place, if you know what I mean. They're basically just going like, okay, so as soon as you get close and try to attack us, we're going to turn around immediately and have some issues. Oh, are you serious? That was some massive damage from a peasant right there. Take him down. Ah, there we go. Nice block. Oh, these guys really want to... Oh. Yeah, that was quite a bit of damage. Unfortunately, I am suffering a couple of frame rate issues at the moment. That is, of course, the AI problem with this version of the game. So, yeah, just so you know, that is causing the video potentially to lag. So, just so you know that that's the reason. It's not your device. It's not my device even. It's just the game at the moment, because I haven't updated it for a while. And they're actually still on 1.4.1. I'm playing on 1.4.0. So it is not dramatically different. But, of course, the various fixes that they have applied are pretty significant in that update. So, yeah, definitely something to consider for the future. Otherwise, let's do this. Get them. Get him. Okay, I kind of want to survive this because I'd kind of like to have a little bit of extra HP just in case. Oh, that's actually the retreat point. Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Okay, well, whatever the case, I'm gonna get my two-handed weapon proficiency up. Gonna get my athletics skill up just by slashing away a little bit here. And as you can see, now that the enemies have left, the frame rate is perfectly fine. It's literally a AI issue. Not entirely sure why, but there you go. That's fixed in later versions, though. All right, so we did end up losing 23 units from our army, which is pretty bad. It is pretty bad, but actually 11 of those were relatively low-tier units, so not too much to worry about there. And we can now potentially take some people. I'm not actually going to be taking anyone by the looks of things. No. Because we need to make sure that we are the fastest we possibly can be when we are exiting this battle. Because if we're not, we're going to be in a bad situation. There we go. There we go. They're actually running away now, which is perfect. That's very good. And both of the people that are in my army at the moment have placed units in the garrison here as well. So it has fortified it just that little bit, which is very nice to see. So otherwise, there you go. We did manage to take it. That has 134 defenders. That's actually pretty significant for an instant defense, I guess you could call it. Otherwise, let's have a look and see what this guy actually has in his army, because I'd like to potentially fight him if at all possible. We're at 28% HP though, however, which is not exactly great. Let's see whether they want to give me something. No, they do not want to give me anything. Should I actually vote? Maybe I should actually vote. Because someone mentioned in the comments that it might be an idea to try and, shall we say, schmooze a little bit with some of the other vassals and maybe try to get them on our side just that little bit more so that maybe they'll support us in our efforts to maybe gain an extra fief. So I'm going to spend, should I spend 50? I'm going to spend 100. I'm going to go for it. Let's see how much I actually increase my relation with this guy. By 47. Yes, exactly. That's the point. Pretty crazy. I don't think I'm actually going to spend any more here. I'm just going to abstain. It's going to go to Calodog anyway, as you can see. Pretty easy. Alright, so yeah, now we have 164, that's pretty good, and we have now increased our relation with another one of the more prominent vassals in the realm, which is exactly what we want to do. Alright, so let's take a look at our charm skill here. Gain 1 influence per day for each allied lord party that are not currently in an army while waiting in the same town. Really? No, that doesn't sound very good. What about this? When you visit your own settlements, they get a +5 loyalty bonus once per day. I mean, how often do I do this? I'm not entirely sure. How often do I do this? Not really that sure. I mean, when you visit your own settlements, they get a +5 loyalty bonus once per day. I mean, that really doesn't happen either that much. I mean, both of these are, in my opinion, somewhat useless, although I feel like this is probably going to be better. It's more likely that I will be at an allied town waiting than going to visit my own settlement. So I suppose I will take courtship, even though, in my opinion, it doesn't really do much in my eyes. But anyway, there you go. Let's have a look and see if I can maybe scare this guy off a little bit and maybe try to restore my HP just a little more so that I can maybe do something. Because I kind of want to fight him, but I would like to be a little bit higher in HP before we do that. So let me see if I can just kind of delay his escape. I mean, he's moving at 4.6 and we are moving at 4.1, so he is actually faster than us. So we have to play this very, very strategically, very tactically, and we'll see if we can do that. Let me see if I can move over here. Let's get this guy. There we go. Come on now. Yep, that's perfect. Let's get him. Go. We're at 55%. I think that's pretty decent. And I should be able to... Oh, yeah. See, now that's exactly what happens. Every single time I try to do that, that's exactly what happens. Because I went to go and intercept him, and then what happened is I double click, and then all of a sudden, boom, the game, you know, obviously runs at a much faster pace, because that's exactly what you can do. Instead of using 3 to increase the game speed, you can also double click. And yeah, that obviously reduces the amount of control that you have over your character by a pretty significant amount, because otherwise you're not going to be able to click fast enough, because it's a surprise, you know, it's a surprise that that's actually happening at the time. Never mind. We were able to get them anyway, and that's all that matters. So let's see if we can do some damage here. Maybe get a little bit of thrown weapon proficiency increase, maybe get some two-handed increase as well. I'd like to get my two-handed skill up quite a bit more than it already is. Let's go for some shield wall formation right here, and let's go for loose with our archers. Let's put them around here, put the shield wall around about here, and then let's go two-handed. Oh yeah. I actually did just get a new two-handed trait, and that was a berserker trait. It basically increases the speed at which you run while you are on foot with two-handed weapons. So that's very, very cool in my opinion. I like it quite a bit. And as you can see, we're actually running pretty fast, even while drawing our sword. Look at that. Look at that. Oh yeah, there we go. That is what we like to see. Oh yeah. You know, I really like the two-handed, and that's actually quite funny. I wanted to play a two-handed character in my very first playthrough of Bannerlord, but obviously because I didn't really have that much knowledge about the game at the time, it was a bit difficult, you know. It was a bit difficult, especially considering we were playing on native, and it was just complete native, no mods, no nothing whatsoever. So it was obviously much slower to level up all of those things. And indeed, in some cases, it is basically almost impossible to level up your athletics skill as much as you would actually need it to be viable in a combat situation. Because if you're not able to move around fast, you're basically just going to be a sluggish, useless warrior with no shield whatsoever, and you're just going to get murdered every single time. So that's kind of the problem with that, you know. Anyway, we have increased our relation with this clan here, which in my opinion is basically pointless, because that clan in particular is one that tends to leave pretty much all the time. They're a faction hopper. So it is going to be pretty impossible for us to really do anything about that. But, you know, it's okay. Relation is always useful, I suppose. Anyway, what's actually going on here? It seems like we have a bit of a siege going on. Lukon is attempting to take this. With how many units? 189 only? Really? I'm very surprised. I wouldn't have expected him to use such a small army for this, but maybe he... I don't know, maybe he has a bunch of faith, you know, a lot of faith in his units. But look at this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These forest bandits, these bushwhackers and freebooters and so on and so forth, they all level up into Battanian Fian champions, especially as well as these Battanian highborn as well. They level up into Battanian heroes, which eventually go into Battanian Fians and Fian champions. So they're really, really good. And hopefully we'll be able to get more of those as we go forward here. There we go. All right, fantastic. That's pretty good. Okay, so let's have a look at Sakanis right here, because he is before us. He has... actually not that strong. Wow, I'm actually surprised. Okay, let's see if we can maybe do some battle with him. I think I might try to persuade him as well, by the way. Okay, here we go. This is generally what they tend to do. They generally tend to be very... shall we say, sneaky, and they like to gang up on the player quite a lot. So let's see how fast. Yeah, look at this. This faction is just joining every single person in the world. Anyway, let's see what this guy has. Let's see if he has anything good. He's got a bunch of recruits. He's got trained infantry. He does have elites, and he does have legionaries as well. And he also has some cataphract units too, so he's going to be difficult to deal with, but that just means that I have to use a bit of strategy here. So I'm going to move away. Alright, so this is perfect. I've basically divided them now because one of them decided to want to try and raid this village and the other one is moving on to this village. And that's exactly the reason why you want to try and protect your villages, because you can indeed try to lure enemies over to them and then they'll probably try to raid them and, well, then you'll have this kind of situation, which is great. So I'm actually just going to speak to him, see if he... Yes, he is indeed the leader of his own clan, so I would love to be able to persuade him to join us. Okay, here we go, here we go. Cross your fingers, everyone. Boom. Oh yeah, critical success. That worked. That worked very nicely indeed. Let's try this one. Okay, here we go. Here we go. And... oh yeah, success. Now he's going to say that it's a dangerous step, isn't he? Yep, it's a dangerous step. Let's see how much he wants. He wants all of my money. He wants all of my money. Right? Yeah, basically. Otherwise, I'm just going to have like 50,000 remaining. Okay, yeah, that's not... I'm sorry, sir. That's really not going to work. Could you just give me your 84,000? I would appreciate it. Isn't that always the way? That's always the way of things, isn't it? As soon as you're able to even persuade one of these guys, they always ask for an exuberant amount of cash, and then you're just like, you're grinding my gears here, sir. You're grinding my gears like no one's business. So, yeah, that really didn't work out too well, did it? But, well, you know, you got to try. You got to try, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get, I guess, in this case. In many cases, actually. But otherwise, let's see if I can... make the most of my infantry here. I think I have too many infantry. I have 86 infantry at the moment. I think I need to do something about that. I have a lot of cavalry. Well, shall we say I have a lot of spaces for cavalry because I only have 3 of them. That's pretty terrible. Alright, well, let's move my forces up ahead here. Now, we've got to be a bit careful. I don't think they have that many crossbowmen that are actually able to do that much damage, so we should be alright. But these are Batanians, and Batanians, as we know, are quite lightly armored in comparison to the Imperials. So this might be problematic. Ooh, I killed one of the Imperials. Oh, that's lovely. One of the Manavlions. They're really hard, in my opinion, to kill. Oh, nice. An elite as well. Oh, another elite. Very good. That's exactly what we need to do. Okay, let's try and see if I can go two-handed here. Yeah, get him. Let's get him. And there we go. That is indeed a victory for us. Ah, nice. Yeah, there we go. I love it when we have the just obvious speed advantage, you know? I feel like the speed advantage is super fun to see, because when there's someone attempting to like run away or something like that, and you can tell that they have a decent amount of athletics, but they have such heavy armor on that it's really difficult for them to escape. And you can kind of just, you know, outspeed them completely, and you just catch up in like no like no time at all, and just go slashy, and then it's all good. And there you go. That's a victory for us. We did end up losing 12 units, but in my opinion, that is acceptable. That is definitely an acceptable loss. And we've taken 4,200 of his gold. Okay, so question. We know how much money he has. He has 84,000. So why was I not given the maximum amount of cash that a vassal can potentially give you? Because as far as I am aware, I thought that if they had over 10,000, then they would give you the maximum of 10,000, and that's it. And now I'm not complaining, of course. I just don't understand what actually happened there. Is there some other prerequisite that actually makes a difference to that? Because it seems like that is indeed the case, because as you could no doubt tell, he has a lot more money. He just didn't want to give it to us. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to give it to us, but I just found that kind of interesting, because I always thought that they gave the maximum amount that they had. But apparently not. Apparently not. Oh well, never mind, never mind. Okay, so we're really, really close to this town here. And we're going to go over and we're going to just sell our prisoners real quick. And we can continue to utilize this area as kind of like a hunting ground as well, which is really, really good in my opinion. Okay, so let's see what I can do here. We're just going to sell all of these. That's the main reason why I took these prisoners, of course. They're going to sell for a pretty good amount as well. Look at that, 2,000. Yeah, I mean, that's the point. 2,000 is not exactly amazing, and we're only gaining a small amount in roguery as well. So I would personally say that taking prisoners at this point, especially if I have such a decent amount of money as it is not really worth it for the speed deficit. Because let's face it, if I was being pursued by someone, like by a large army or something like that, I would want to have as much speed as possible, so taking prisoners in that case would probably be ill-advised. However, I feel like we've done pretty well. We've taken a castle, we've defeated a couple of vassals, and we're probably going to be attempting to take another castle as we go forward here, because we need to try and support the Botanians as much as we possibly can. I don't know whether you've noticed, but the Botanians are not doing very well at the moment. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.